Good morning. Good morning and welcome to tea time. Hello, hello. How are you doing? It is Saturday and we're just having some tea. I'm hopping on just so that we can enjoy some tea together. Maybe it's your tea time. Good morning. I'm just over here making sure that my crew on TikTok is also up and raring to go. So, how are things going? How are you guys doing? It is that time of year when we're doing the mid-year reset. I would have hopped on a couple of weeks ago and had tea with y'all and just kind of talked through, you know, what's going on in your life in June, right? So, whenever you're watching this, whether live or replay, right, we are all about the mid-year reset. We started this journey out very powerfully at the beginning of the year, just making sure that you had some insights to help you to build up momentum. And I know that usually what happens is you start off the year and it feels like everything is just going great, and then everything is going great, and then all of a sudden now it's like I'm in May and I have not been able to move the needle. Like, what is happening? What is happening? Yeah. So we are setting ourselves up to enjoy the second half of the year by doing this year's reset. And I love a mid-year reset because it helps you to get out of this struggle boss mentality where you feel like I'm not making it. Right. So it's literally just a perspective shift. That's exactly what it is. Because it's all life is all about perspective. That's exactly what it's about. It's about perspective. And so you are probably at this phase thinking to yourself, am I going to be able to hit my goals that I set at the beginning of the year? Am I going to be able to actually meet these ambitious targets? Because we always get ambitious. When the beginning of the year comes, I mean, it's like we feel like we can build the Great Wall by the time we get to December. Okay? And that's normal. It's normal to have desires, and it's normal to see yourself achieving and manifesting and dream building and all the things. It's normal for you to do that. There is nothing wrong with starting off your year and having the big dreams. No. Where most of us get stuck, myself included, because I don't come on here talking about things I don't experience myself. Where most of us get stuck is in the realization of those things that we started in the year. Usually, you have one or two areas that you're killing it. You are doing the thing, you are doing the do, you're making the moves, right? And then somewhere around March, April, for some of y'all, somewhere by the end of January, especially if it's a new habit and you're not continuing from last year, right around March, for sure you drop off. Sometimes by the time you get to January 29, it just not crossing, it not making sense, it not adding up, no multiple. The math is not mathing for your manifestation. All right. And it sometimes leads to discouragement. Many of us just chuck the dreams out the door and we decide that, this is just not happening. And so when we started April, I began a 90-day challenge. So I kicked it off, just making sure that I was sending out messages every day to build up momentum. And now we're at the end of June. By the time we reach next weekend, June is doing this, the wind up. We're fully in summer. Summer solstice I think, is happening between yesterday and today. We're fully in the season of summer for y'all who have the seasonal changes and stuff, right? And you're probably like, oh, oh gosh, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that again. I'm not going to make it. So why bother? You don't like to feel uncomfortable about the things that not working. And so you decide that you just go and chuck them out. You're not going to bother try. I can't bother try. Or I needed some money in order to do this thing. Like maybe it was the house this year or the car this year. I had a couple of people on my TikTok that talked about, doing the car. A couple of people that talked about building the wealth, getting that money, getting those big bucks in. And by the time you're adding up things and maybe you're looking at the bank account and it's just not looking like you're going to make it. And so you decide that you're just going to ditch that dream. Today, we are going to start a reset. The reset is in two parts. Today is part one. And the reason why we have to do it in two parts is because resetting around the things that you're trying to create for your life is not just a one stop shop thing. What happens with you guys is that the habits that you need to create to help you to step fully into the person that you are becoming, you don't work at the habits. You need to build that muscle. That's all it is. It's not because you can't. It's not because you haven't. It's not because in the morning time when you're supposed to get up, you don't get up. It's none of those things. All it is a muscle that you have not yet built. And because sometimes it's a new muscle. Sometimes it's a muscle that you had when you were a kid, but you don't have it anymore. And therefore, you get stuck in stupid because you feel like you're supposed to know this. You're supposed to have everything all figured out. No, you don't. And it's okay. But guess what happened now? You actually do have some things figured out. You do. You have some things figured out, but you don't know how to recognize what you have figured out because you keep focusing on the things you haven't figured out. I must say that again. I start preaching. I don't even drink my tea yet. Oh, gosh. Today's going to be good. You get worried about not being able to figure things out. And instead of training the muscle that helps you to figure things out, you stay stuck because you're focused on the things that you can't figure out. So today we're going to start the muscle training. I'm going to help you with something that unlocked my greatness to another level. And I'm not telling any lies, guys. 2025 is like something in my brain just like it just click up and crick up and something happened. And I decided that I was going to take a shift. I was going to make a shift. I was going to create new. I was going to do different. And I looked back at one of my annual planners and I was like, no, Stacey, this is just not right. Like you have these areas where just nothing not going for you. You just were not doing the work. You were not actively shifting and changing. And I don't know any one person. I do not know any one person, even the best goal getters. I don't know any one person who is achieving every single thing on their map. I don't know any one person. No matter who you see sitting in front of you on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, on wherever they're sitting, and they're telling you how much they're killing it, they may be killing it in one area of their life or two, but there isn't a human that is just doing everything great in every area. Otherwise, that means you're not learning. And the entire purpose of life is to learn. That's it. So what I'm sharing with you this morning is just to say that we're going to help set you up for the second half of your year. And the way that we're going to do that is we are going to make sure that we are connecting the dots. We're going to build out this backwards blueprint from the first half of the year that will help you with recognizing how you are going to write your next chapter. But you're not just writing any next chapter, okay? You're building this backwards blueprint so that you can have a verified vision. Not just the vision that is airy-fairy and that is out there and that you may have started with at the beginning of the year that you think, okay, I want a new house and I want a new car and I want money in the bank and I want a new lover and I want to. No, you now have 6 months worth of evidence that you can use to plot a powerful, purpose-driven second half of your year. And that's what we're about on Tea Time this morning. So grab your tea. This morning I'm drinking what is now my usual. Yeah, see my tea. I always have to keep it hot because I talk a lot. Y'all know I talk a lot. So I keep it hot by putting the saran wrap on there. And then I drink. So grab your tea. While you're grabbing your warm cup of joy, I'm going to pull an intention card because we don't want to start nothing great without setting an intention. And this whole intention setting thing has been so powerful for me because I've really been able to use the cards to help myself. Like this last week, I must say things were a bit stressful. Things were a bit stressful this last week. Last 2 weeks, last 3 weeks, oh my gosh, just holy things. And I was feeling just a lot of pressure. Last week I wasn't sleeping well. And I decided, I'm not doing that this week. So I wanted some guidance. And so I pulled an intention card. And the one I pulled was I show myself compassion. And it just helped to bring me back to center. It helped me to connect with myself, to realize that I'm not perfect. There is no perfect human. And I'm going through this time and it's teaching me something. It's helping me to learn. So as we get started, I want to make sure that we pull an intention card so that you guys your mind can be set in the right way. You're feeling good about your day. You're getting ready to have an amazing weekend and an amazing week ahead. So we're pulling a card to get that stuff going, right? So this is the card that we're going to roll with today. I am connected to my highest self. I'm connected to my highest self. And this card's affirmation, I embrace the fullness of my soul being and receive the vision of my true self. I mean, it's the perfect card, guys. Oh my gosh, it's the perfect card for the mid-year reset. Perfect card. I embrace the fullness of my soul being and receive the vision of my true self. So, what that means is you are embracing who you are. You are embracing who you already are. You're not trying to blame yourself for anything. You're not trying to put yourself down. You're not looking for yourself to be better than who you are already. You need to embrace and accept where you are right now, because without the acceptance part, you cannot move forward and create the habits that you need for this new person that you're putting forward. So you're embracing the fullness of your soul being and receiving the vision of your true self. And as I said before, this is not no airy-fairy vision. This is a verified vision. All right? That's what we're doing. It's a verified vision. So if you are halfway through the year and you're am I on the right path? Am I actually going to be able to step fully into who I am? Today is the day we'll answer the question. And today is the day we'll set you up so that the second half is not a hot mess. Right? So I got inspired by the Steve Jobs speech about connecting the dots backwards. A lot of times when you listen to teachers and gurus, they'll talk about don't look in the rearview mirror. But that's a lie. When they tell you don't look in the rearview mirror, they may mean don't get stuck in the rearview mirror. But when you're driving a car, you use your rearview mirror for guidance. You do. So there has to be some kind of method to that madness. You use your rearview mirror for guiding you as you drive forward. Sometimes you have to back up and reverse, and you need to look in at the rearview mirror so you can make sure you back up right so that you can move forward. And it's the same thing with connecting the dots backwards, because the dots don't lie. The dots are your facts of life that help you to build that backward blueprint, that help you to look back and see your way forward, if you can follow me. So don't get caught up in this story that, you can't look backwards, you don't move forward without looking in your rear view mirror. That's a lie. You can use your rear view mirror to help you to move forward. And it's because that backwards view is helping you to read your success story. When you connect the dots from January to June, you can uncover your hidden success patterns. And I want to use Steve Jobs' wisdom about looking backwards to help you to identify some things that may seem like random experiences and random choices and maybe even random challenges from the first half of your year, but they're actually building blocks to help you break through your second half. Because some of y'all, you know yourselves, you're literally just kind of rolling into the second half of the year, still trying the same things that you've been trying from January to June, and it's not going to work. She says as she stops and drinks tea. It's not going to work. Good morning, Roy, on YouTube, on TikTok. So if you are really about this game, if you are really about bossing it and about, creating a success blueprint, the success blueprint does not always look forward. You can build a backwards blueprint to help you with success. Let me give you a story. This, as I was saying, last couple of weeks has been extraordinarily pressure filled. I feel like stew peas or oxtail or curry goat that is in the pressure cooker, and every time you check it, it just not cook. It just, yeah, you're checking and it not cooking. That's literally what the last 3 weeks has felt like for me. As a matter of stretch it out to a month or even 6 weeks, whatever. I mean, I was traveling to Canada, I was traveling to Atlanta, going to a Web Summit conference, all of these things to build wealth. And it's working, by the way. I'm just saying. That's one of the goals for this year. One of the goals for me for this year was about building wealth, getting assets going, getting my company structured properly, doing all these different things, right? And let me tell you something, guys. That ain't no joke. That ain't no like easy maths for maths. It's not. But it's okay. It's possible. It's plausible. Here's what I did. When I was feeling the pressure in the pressure cooker, like the actual proper, the oxtail is not getting soft, I decide to like just help myself by helping my mind. And I was having meetings and I just feel like myself running a cold sweat because I have so much work to do. In the meeting, I have another meeting coming, an overlapping meeting, triple booked. And I don't know how I'm going to manage it. That's how I was feeling. And one night, it's like I sat down and I was reading one of my books. I read a lot. And if you're not on the reading train, you need to get on it, right? And I was reading one of my favorite books about power of intention. This book I was reading. And the chapter was reminding me that I am the universe in a drop. I am made up of the same particles and the substance and the essence of God. I am made up of the greatness that is all around us. I am made up of the same things that other great people before me have thought up, like, the people that think about great buildings and have built them, the Rockefellers and the kings of manufacturing and Steve Jobs himself and all the Oprahs of the world and all these different people. We are made up of the same particles, the same substance, the same essence. And since that is true, right? Since that is true, because you can identify that is true, then Stacey, that means that you already have the energy and the presence and the wherewithal to create whatever it is that you say you're going to create. But you can't go into the pressure pot situations without knowing this. You have to go into the situations knowing that you are already great. You can't go in there feeling like, oh my God, another meeting, I'm going to stress out. I don't know how I'm going to solve this problem. It's just you have to go in there knowing that you already have the solution, whether it's you have it in your head or somebody else that is in the situation with you is going to have the solution for you. You have to go into the bank already knowing that you're qualified for the loan. Are you going to get it today? I don't know, but you have to already know that there is something within you that has already qualified you to get what you need to get. and to have what you need to have. You have to. And it's like, I sat there on the bed and I was reading this thing and I was like, why am I acting like I'm not already great? Let's go back through January to June and see how I managed myself. Let's go back January to June and just start recollect. And so I take up my phone, and I start to scroll through the pictures. Because some of you don't journal. I journal. So I can also take up my journal and I can flip back through and I can read, right? But if you don't journal, that's okay, no problem. We still got your greatness. I know all of y'all taking pictures. Some of you guys are on Instagram or on TikTok and you're trying to build your lifestyle brand and all the things, and you have a million pictures. So I decided I'm gonna go back through. I'm gonna just scroll back through and help myself, because clearly I was ready to have the pity party about not hitting certain goals, because I have a goal that's tied to this pressure cooker that I am in. I have a goal. I wouldn't be in the pressure cooker if I never have a goal. I wouldn't be in the situation. Some of y'all have jobs and you're dying to leave the job. You're dying to leave the job. You're cussing the work. This year is the year that I'm breaking out. This year is the year that I'm going to leave. I'm going to go on to greatness. I'm going to do something else. And this was the year, and you reach May and you're still in the job and you're figuring, oh my God, what am I going to do? I can't, I hate it here. I can't take it. The reason you're in the job is because you have a goal. You have something, you have a dream. You have a manifestation that you're trying to manifest. Something is there that you're going after. You have money that you're trying to make. You have a bank account that you're trying to build. You have a car, a house that you're trying to buy. There's a reason you are in it. And so stop looking back and seeing yourself, oh, I'm in the office. Oh, still in the office. Oh, I'm in the office. And thinking that it's not a part of your success blueprint. When you're in the office, you're learning. When you're in the office, you're growing. When you're in the office, you're earning, even if you're not earning at the level that you want to earn. When you're in the office and you're dealing with toxic people, it's training you, it's building the muscle for you to deal with the other toxic people that you're going to meet in the future, because it's not just in that job they're in other jobs. They're out there in the world. They're out there in the company that you are going to build. They're at the bank waiting to sign your loan papers. The not so nice toxic people. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? I'm saying to you that every single thing that you encounter in your life, the good things, the bad things, the worst things, all of those things are building your backwards blueprint for success. But the only way you're going to know is if you look back and realize, oh, I survived that meeting. Oh, I survived that toxic energy from that person. Oh, I learned a lesson about money that I didn't know before that I'm now going to use as I'm building more wealth and prosperity. So don't discount the down moments. Don't discount the devil in the details of what you have gone through in your past. You got to use it. You got to use it to build what you're doing next. And so when I sat down and I was reading this book now, and my sister, it might remind me, I was getting the reminder that, Stacey, you already got all the things that you need. You've already surpassed problems, bigger problems. Girl, you've already surpassed bigger problems. So why are you tripping up yourself? Why are you negating yourself? Why are you blocking your beautiful bounty? Why are you blocking your bounty? By focusing on the things that you are yet to figure out, when you can look back and say, what have I figured out? So that's the first thing. Look back. What have you figured out? Dots are divine. You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So I want you to make sure that you are actually doing the work. So what you're going to do between this week and when we meet again next week is you're going to look at 3 things that felt like failures between January and June. And you're going to identify what did they birth or protect you from? Like, what did you learn? What can you celebrate from those things that felt like failures that happened between January and June? 3 things I want you to write down, right? Remember, every breakdown, delay, every no, and redirection, it has sacred intelligence. It has the intellectual property that you need to help propel you forward. You may not understand it now, but your future self is going to thank you for staying on the path. Now, the second thing that I want to bring home for you guys is that the things that you're trying to fulfill in your life, the things that you are trying to nurture and to bloom, when things start to fall apart, they're actually falling in place. And I can tell you guys, my life popped down so many times in so many different ways. I mean, the largest pop down time I can recollect is when my marriage fell apart. I got cancer. I got diagnosed with mental illness and had a whole heap of things. I got separated from my family and I was in a country where I didn't have any friends or family. Like that was a total pop downness when everything fell apart. You may not have everything falling apart, but you may have one area of your life that feels like it's falling apart. Something is falling apart in your life. But when you feel that thing that is falling apart, I promise you, there are pieces falling into place. And when you start to reframe from falling apart to falling into place, that is where you find your superpower. A lot of times, especially when you're very career driven and very hungry for, building money, wealth, and all of this stuff, sometimes you get stuck chasing the outcomes. But the wisdom that you need to actually create those outcomes lives inside of the process. And we discount the process. We're just so full of energy and drive that we get literally stuck looking forward and not using all the things that we have learned as ways to help us to leap forward. So the next thing that I want to do at some point in this week, before you come back for part 2 next week, I want you to write a gratitude list. I want you to write a gratitude list for the unexpected detours that actually brought you new opportunities. Or if you didn't even get an opportunity, maybe you became more self-aware. Maybe you got more insight that can help you with your future. Remember, reframing is your superpower. Don't just get lost in the outcomes. Wisdom lives in the process. I like to say joy is in the journey. And when you have wisdom is power. And having that self-knowledge is self-empowerment. Now, the third and final thing I want you to understand about connecting your dots, right? A lot of times we feel like things have to happen sequentially. And I need you guys to let go of thinking in a linear way. Let go of thinking that this have to happen, then this, then this, then this. When you're connecting dots and you're playing, puzzles and stuff, dots don't connect linearly. That's not how life is. Right? When you're imagining and dreaming, and starting to think about the things that you can create, it's not this, then this, then this, then this. A lot of times you're imagining in color, things all happening at the same time, your life mushrooming with all these beautiful things happening at the same time. But then you want to take this step and you don't want to move to the next step until all these ducks are in a row. Your life's path isn't a checklist. It's not a checklist that one, then two, then three. It is probably a zigzag and a crisscross. Progress isn't always forward. Sometimes progress is inward. And that inward work happens when you're reflecting. So I want you to pick what I'm calling, when you talk about connecting the dots backward, I want you to pick a dot. And a dot is usually a moment in your life or a decision that you would have taken or a point in time where you learned a lesson, where sometimes that lesson can feel like a failure. I want you to map it to how it has shaped your becoming. I want you to look back and see, boy, this is what led to this dot. And when you're doing it, guys, don't get stuck, what I call stuck in stupid, because I that's how I feel when I do this, where I'm connecting the dots and all I can see is the mistakes I made. Connect the dots, but look at the things that you created as a part of your process. Connect the dots and do that gratitude work. Connect the dots and look at the things that you thought were a failure, but they were actually a setup for your future. Right? And when you are doing this work, I want you to think about just a way that all of this is going to actually help you in the second half of the year. You can even ask yourself that question: what did I learn that is really going to just set me up for, even if it's like, don't do this again? That's a lesson. Do this instead. That's a lesson. So your weekly formula for this week, because remember now, next week, Saturday, is the 28th of June. A week from today is the 28th of June, which means that it's the last Saturday in June. The Monday is the 30th. You're rolling into second half of the year. So I want you to discern, that's the D, what mattered most so far this year. I want you to observe, that's the O, how far you've actually come. And I want you to trust, that's the T, that the rest of the year is going to make sense. And it's going to make sense in time, in the right time, not necessarily your time. So that's discern, observe, and trust. Dot. That's all you got to do. Discern what mattered most so far. Observe what you've actually done, what you've actually overcome, how far you've gotten, even if you never got all of the things that you were looking to manifest. And then trust that the rest will make sense in time. You've got to trust the process. That was one of the hardest things for me. Sometimes I just feel I have it all figured out. And when I don't have it all figured out, I start to get wishy-washy. You have got to trust the process and know that everything you need is in your backwards blueprint. All right? And so when you are thinking about what's coming up, you're going to be able to actually use the insights from this backward analysis that you're doing this week to design the second half of the year, to design now the new blueprint for what the rest of 2025 is going to look like, how it's going to make you feel, where you're going to land. What is July to December going to deliver that's going to make this dot connection work for you? We're going to literally, magically transform the backwards things into forward momentum. So you can build that muscle that I'm talking about that has the habits in there that will help you to build a verified vision. So backwards blueprint, by connecting those dots, is going to help you to build a verified vision, which is different from the vision that you had in January where it's just airy-fairy. No, now you have 6 months worth of evidence, 6 months worth of proof that you can use to propel you towards your purpose. All right. So that's your assignment. Remember, for this week, what we're doing as we get ready for our mid year reset, first thing is we're going to recognize that our dots are divine. Your dots that you're connecting are looking backwards and recognizing the events, the moments, the decisions that you've made, the things that may have happened that are actually there to propel you forward, even if you don't understand it. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to look at three things, just three, that felt like failures between January and June. What did they actually birth for you? What did they actually create? Or what did they actually protect you from? Every no is a yes with something else. Every no is a yes with something else. The second thing that I want you to do is I want you to think about moments where you thought things were falling apart. But when you look back now and connect the dots, it's actually representing things falling into place. Remember, reframing is your superpower. So things fall apart, yes. And while things are falling apart, things are also falling into place. Wisdom lives in the process. So, what can you use? What gems can you grab from those moments where you felt like, oh my God, life is just falling apart right now? That is now a nice puzzle piece that can be filled in for your future. And when you do that thinking, we're going to write a gratitude list. You're going to write a gratitude list so that you can identify the things that didn't work out that actually were for you, were in your favor. All right? And just a reminder to let go of linear thinking. As you approach the second half of the year, let go of this idea that it has to be step one, step two, step three in order for me to manifest the life that I want, to get the desires of my heart. No. Your life happens in full color. It mushrooms into beautiful things. And zigzag is the norm. Get used to it. Take advantage of it. Enjoy it. All right? So that's our time on Tea Time today, guys. I hope you have your warm cup of joy and that you enjoyed our time together today. Remember, our intention card for this week: I am connected to my highest self. I embrace the fullness of my true self, accepting who I am, right? And reconnect this to the vision of my future self. All right. Take care, guys. Until next week, remember we're doing part 2, where we actually set up ourselves for the second half of the year in a very powerful way. Thanks for joining Tea Time, guys. Until next week. Take care. Bye-bye.